There are many different builds that we can use if we're farming inside of Diablo Immortal, but today with the new Druid class, I wanted to share with you guys the build that I'm currently using to actively farm or to circle farm or to do my bounties inside of Diablo Immortal. I'll also share with you guys modifications that you can utilize if you want to do a lazier farm. That'll be towards the end of the video. But starting things out, let's take a look at the essences and the primary attack that I'm using. I'm going with Ferocious Strike, Thorn Armor, Surging Stone, that's the one that's going to use my Primal Essence. We have the Summon Oak Sage and Summon Wolves. Now, let's take a look over at some of the green items. Again, these can be interchangeable, I guess is the best way to say it. One thing that I do think that you should be utilizing is a 4-piece Vethuz Urge. I like to come in and wear a mount bank. I just always wear at least a 2-piece mount bank in most of the builds that I use. You could swap this out for the new essence if you want to get some electricity going on around you. And I am also going with the Banquet of Eyes, a 2-piece of Banquet of Eyes. It's also worth noting, I have not yet gotten myself a charm for the Druid, so we're just going with what we're going with, and I'm going with my normal pet. It's a savior pet that I use for PvP, so definitely not going for anything special here, but it does a pretty nice job and helps me out with my farming pretty actively. Now, I want to take a look at some of the essences that I'm using. I want to demonstrate how this works for you guys, and then we'll see what's going on. So the gems that I'm using for all of this are the same gems that I would pretty much use in PvP as well. I have not made any changes to that, and the gems that you use can be modified beyond this as well. So we're coming with the Trailing Vine. I'm going with a Roiling Consequence in there, and Thorn Armor also increases your crit chance by 8% while active. Thorn Armor cooldown has been reduced because, as you guys can see, I have all purple slots. All of these slots have been awakened. That happens when you put a 4-star gem in or above. And, well, obviously activate it yourself. Then we have Barb Mantle. Got a Blood-Soaked Jade inside of this one. And we're wearing the Scatter Thorn legendary essence. Thorn Armor now only shields you, and while active, causes your attacks to scatter thorns, damaging nearby enemies. Skill can be triggered on a primary attack. Thorn Armor cooldown is reduced by 10%. Also, please remember, this is an active farming build. This is not one where you just put it down and you let the build do all the farming for you, also known as AFK farming. I will show you some modifications, as I said, a little bit later. Then we have a Barghast Beacon, going with a Fervent Fang max level inside of there. And this is the Fire Wolves. I think Fire Wolves are super important. First of all, Summon Wolves are super important overall because they're going to make you faster with one of the essences that we do use inside of this build. Quite a bit faster, actually, and I really like that, especially while farming or really in all areas of the game. But here, Fire Wolves summon wolves, now summoning Fire Wolves to fight alongside of you, burning enemies, who can be commanded to breathe fire and increase their attack speed. And then we have the Summon Wolves, damage is increased by 10%. So this adds that continual damage that we're always looking for, the burning going on with those Summon Wolves. We have Lightning Drape. We're going with a rank 10 Pain Clasp. And here, Summon Oak Sage damage is increased by 5%. for 5 seconds each time they attack, up to a maximum of 20%, and Summon Oak Sage damage is increased by 10%. Now we're going with our first primary weapon, Rattling Shell. Here I have a Bottled Hope, and Summon Wolves also increases your movement speed by 20%. For each active wolf companion under your control, up to a maximum of 60%, and then the damage is increased by an additional 10%. Once you start wearing the Rattling Shell, allowing for your Summon Wolves to make you more fast, this is all the time, not if you're in wolf form. This is when you have actually wolves summoned on the game, on the battlefields with you. You're so much faster. It's hard to go back and not use this one when you are using it. Now, second primary. This one right here, I believe, let's see. Yeah, because there are so few essences inside of the game right now, there aren't always the perfect essence to wear in a certain slot, or maybe you or myself have not yet unlocked one that is going to be efficient there. It's worth noting that the build that I'm sharing with you guys today is very effective, even if you're missing some of the essences. So keep that in mind. So as you can see right here, my second primary weapon, it's for Earthquake. I'm not even utilizing Earthquake. So essentially that is going to be a dead slot for me right now. We have Tusk Guard, which is our first secondary weapon. I'm wearing a Mother's Lament inside of there. And here we are, where is that essence? Oh, we're not using, Smolder Sage. Summon Oak Sage no longer passively summons. So I'm utilizing 2 Summon Oak Sage things right here. So obviously only one is going to be used as the primary. I'm also wearing a Colossus Engine inside of this one. This is the one that's working right here. Summon Oak Sage no longer passively summons and instead actively summons Protective Oak Sages to orbit you, granting damage reduction and immunity against 1 total loss of control effect. I go back and forth whether I want to use that one or whether I want to use this one right here. Smolder Sage, Summon Oak Sage no longer passively summons and instead actively summons 3 Oak Sages who infect enemies with Smolder Seeds that explode if the enemies are affected by burning. That's actually one that I prefer, especially because I'm utilizing the wolves that are going to also burn things, allowing for this Summon Oak Sage to explode. Now, Paragon, super easy. I'm just going with Vanquisher for farming. Nothing crazy there. Choosing anything that's going to be best for farming for me there. Because I'm not going for the biggest damage build. I just want to have the most effective farming build. I will bring you more big damage builds and even PvP builds in the next couple of days. But for now, this is what we're going with there. Let me take you in and show you what a little bit of farming looks like. Now, actually, before I go and show you how this actually works, I want to show you, if you want to be a little bit more AFK with your farming, some things that you could utilize. First of all, you'd want to swap in Circle of Life skill for one of the others, but not Summon Wolves. So either Soak, Summon Oak Sage, Surging Stone. You can go Thorn Armor. I'd probably go with Surging Stone myself personally. And there's some essences that you want to utilize here. So when we come on over to the essence transfer, there's a chest piece that you can utilize for this, and it's called Saved by Nature. Circle of Life now grants nearby enemies a regenerative seed that continuously heals life and heals a large amount of their life if it drops too low. So essentially, if your life drops too low, it's going to heal you. In addition to that, there's a pair of pants that I've not yet unlocked that you could utilize with Summon Wolves. Your Summon Wolves heal you for 30% of the damage that they deal. Now that's actually insane because while you're farming, your Summon Wolves in an AFK farm build are essentially what are doing the killing for you and your pet. And of course, I mean, some of your essences and some of your green items as well, but you're gonna essentially be continuously healed by Moon Rudders with those wolves. So pretty insane. It looks like those pants specifically seem to be built just for AFK farming, but we'll see how that actually plays out. But those are some essences that you could swap in and a skill you could swap in as well. So we're just going to do some casual farming and you could see how this works. Essentially, at the end of the day, all of the skills that you're using are going to make your Primal Essence skill continuously regenerate itself. So you nearly have a 100% uptime on this skill right here that's making the earth explode and just do the majority of the damage. Look at how my primal power just continuously regenerates as time goes on. It's actually insane. If we take a look right here, Thorn Armor, every time that I utilize it, it generates 9 additional primal power. We have the Summon Oak Sage, which every time I use that, it increases more. We have generate 18 primal power when used, which is a ton of primal power. And the Summon Wolves, you generate 6 primal power. So all of these 1, 2, 3 skills, every time I utilize them, I get more primal power, which then feeds Surging Stone. So we could just almost endlessly go through with Surging Stone on, which is the primary damage dealer. When there's nothing there, I'll turn it off. But then I'll just run in, I'll find a bundle of enemies, I'll turn on Surging Stone, I'll get everything else going and continuously regenerate so that we could just run through areas. And look at this, we just took down 60 enemies in about 25 seconds, if not less. pretty easy way to go farming. Makes it nice and efficient. Plus, as I mentioned, we do have those summon wolves that are allowing us to move even more quickly the more wolves that we have actively out on the map with us. So there's no transforming inside of this. The reason that I don't use a summon bear or a summon wolf while doing this farming is because it's going to take more of that primal power, and it's going to allow me to use less of the surging stone. At the end of the day, we want surging stone to be up as long as possible so that we can get as much damage done just from walking around as we possibly can every second that we're out. And here is the complete look of the farming build, all of the primary pieces of gear, essences, and all of the secondary pieces of gear as well. Again, running it with Vanquisher, my familiar's doing what it does. We are just crushing it. I absolutely love this build. Many more builds to come. This is just a preview. We've only had the Druid in the game for about 2 or 3 days right now. Hope you guys enjoy this one. Let me know if you're playing as the Druid, and of course, as always, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on tomorrow's video.